How's it going, guys? Dead Channel here, talking to you about this deck that you've already seen 3 times. Invoked Shaddolls. Yeah. Deck completely power creeped. There was a ban list. Doesn't matter about this deck at all, because nothing got touched. In fact, they just brought back 2 irrelevant cards and a fucking annoying card. I'll let you decide which one's which. Anyway, Invoked Shaddolls, right? It's really good going second. It's really good going first. Wind of Pass is solid. The deck has actually changed a little bit. The things that are changing is that I'm going to be testing an access code talker build that uses Selene and Falco. I'll let you guys know about that when I get to it. What else? I ended up cutting cards and replacing with cards I didn't think I'd be playing, just because I think they're actually better in the long run, because I was making cards that I was not making cards that were just sitting dead in my extra deck. So, let's talk about it. 3 copies of Alistair. This card is insane. Like, it fixes all the Shaddoll problems. It's a body. It turns into a light monster. It searches a fusion spell. It makes a free negate if you brick with just this. It's insane. For the clowns, exact same ratio as last time. To this, because you want to see it, and then this as the last one, just because you don't want to see double Trick Clown, but you do want to have one of them. So this actually turns into a Trick Clown when Foolish Burial's in your hand as a Rhoda. Instead of going Foolish Burial, dumping the clown, you Foolish Burial, dump this, search the clown, and then you don't have to pay the 1,000 just to get it on board. You pitch it with Dull Fusion, so that way this can chain block the rest of your effects. So it's really solid. Only 3 hand traps this time. This is not as going second as it used to be. Like, there's no Nibiru in here anymore. They're actually in the side, which I can show you later. I wanted to play 3 Ash because it's good against basically everything. Eldix, it's really good against. You can hit things like the Golden Land, Thingamajig. It's really solid. You can also use this against Block Dragon, even though I've not actually seen a single Emancipator in like 3 days. So it's actually, I'm questioning myself. Is this deck really good? Who cares? Well, I'm just kidding. This card's fucking busted. Anyway, that's all for the non-doll monsters. For the dolls, 3 Wendy. It's the best one. Like this and Squamata are the best one. You have to see one of them, turn 1 to do full combo. Yeah. The 1 Garnet. So, I mentioned a Transcode Talker build earlier. The idea is that if you get a tuner and a Thingamajig on the board, you go into Needle Fiber. But instead of doing that, you'll go, let me think here. You'll go make Construct with Light and a Shaddoll, preferably this one. That way you'll set Falco from the deck. Then you also dump a Trap. The Trap will flip the Falco. The Falco will summon back a monster. You make Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber summon Effect Veiler, and then you use the Effect Veiler and the Needle Fiber for Selene, summon back something, and then you make Transcode, and then you'll have a Selene and Needle Fiber in the grave for 2 pops. It's really solid, but I don't have a Transcode yet, and I want to get that before I actually make the combo. Otherwise, you know, I hate fucking proxying cards. It's some bullshit. But you play over Boral Sword, because you don't have to play Unicorn in that case, because Boral Sword's great, don't get me wrong. It's a 6k on legs that gets over basically everything, but Transcode Talker is basically a super poly in terms of removal. So, and it's an OTK too, so it's really, like, in terms of sheer versatility, it's just better. So yeah, I wanted to try that. Just throwing that out there. You'll probably see that in the next few weeks whenever we get to go back to fucking locals. Anyway, 3 Squamata. It's you literally have no reason not to play 3 of this. You could argue for 2 Wendy just because 3 Squamata just exists. 2 Hedgehog. This is the second worst Shaddoll in my opinion, because you don't really get to do any combos with it turn 1. The worst one obviously being Ariel, because it's a Garnet and you have to have it in your deck to do the full combo. And drawing it sucks. But this one is not terrible. You still only play 2 of it because you don't really want to draw it. It's just the one you want to draw like second least. It's weird to explain. It's okay. It's not great. Beast is the one you actually want to draw in over the Hedgehog. You want to do that because it's the only doll monster that can technically get you to Alistair package if you don't normal summon. So you can go just Eldol Fusion into Winda, and then go, if you happen to draw the Alistair, you can do it. Otherwise, it's just another card. So you want to play, so in my opinion, this is better than Hedgehog, but I'm keeping them in the same ratio because you'll never use 3 of either of them. And you only want, you would, if Wendy didn't exist, you wouldn't even play 2 of this. You'd play 1 of it. 1 Dragon, just because every time I cut it, I always regret it, because the next thing I find out is that I'm going against Altergeist or Guru or some shit, and I just always regret it. So I'm keeping $1 in. Hell, I'd even bump this to 2 if I could, on occasion. It just depends on the day. And now with 3 multi-faker, we might have to do that. Yeah, yay, great. 3 meltdown, this card's definitely going to 1 next format. Like, when we get an actual ban list, that's not just, oh, well, it's June, so I guess we should post something. Like, to be honest with you, posting nothing would have just been better, because, like, then they know, because then that would just be better. Like, they'd say, oh, hey, we see that there's no, you guys want a ban list, but there's no actual playing going on, so we just don't want to put it out. They would actually have communication, just giving us a shit ban list because they feel like it makes the players feel like they're just posting because they feel like they have to. Anyway, 1 Terraform and go with the meltdown. Yeah, like, there's nothing to go on there. This card's just insane. For fusion spells, 3 invocation. You actually don't want to play 2 of this at all. There was a comment in the last Invoked Shaddoll list asking me why I play 3 invocation. The reason why is because the Alistair link is fucking broken, especially now with Aeogides, because it's another monster you can make that's not Purgatrio that you can just sit on and not have to dodge its own effects. So, like, usually you would either make Purgatrio if you're going second, or you can make Caliga if you're going first. But Caliga stops you from going into the second or getting 3 of these, because the moment you activate the Alistair on field, A, it usually gets hand trapped, and B, the Caliga will stop any further searches because you can only use 1 monster effect per turn. So now with Aeogides, you definitely want to play 3 of this, not only because you need to draw a fusion spell turn 1, but because it has actually more utility now than ever. 3 Doll Fusion, it's a 1 card OTK if you're going second. Like, this card, like I've never seen myself cut this at all. I've never cited out this or invocation, but I have cited out 1 Doll Fusion for the weird Guru matchups or garbage that doesn't let me summon. So I'd rather just draw into my back removal cards and then just happen to draw another one. But having multiple of this, you have to have it in any other matchup. The only time in the rogue trap based decks is that you can chain this to Imperial Order to get like App Cologne or like a Winda, just depending. Probably App Cologne because you can then stop the Imperial Order. Other than that, it's not amazing in those matchups. So this is the one you'll usually side out a 1 of. You'll only ever side out 1 because you need 2. So yeah, 1 Foolish Burial. Like I said, it's a Rhoda, 1 Upstart, and this is what I ended up cutting Nibiru for. I wanted to have an out to Mystic Mine that synergizes with the deck and doesn't do is not just a dud card. So, like, this card doesn't lose to Imperial Order. It doesn't lose to, what's it called? Field Barrier, because it doesn't stop me from destroying the card. It banishes it instead. It's not a cost, which means I can trigger my dolls, and it recycles itself in the graveyard when I have another one. So it's really just solid. And then 1 Incarnation. This is the only Garnet you can draw, just because you can pitch it off App Cologne, or you can discard it off Alistair for full combo. But otherwise, this is just really just a Garnet. But there is some fun times when you can go in your anti-meta format or anti-meta matches like Guru. They swing over App Cologne. You take this, pitch another card, and set this again. And then you have a looped Imparm over and over again. Shout out to Jordan from who got top 4 YCS Utrecht, because that's like where I got the idea, and basically like half the list was like based off that list because I think it's really solid. So extra deck, this is the one that has the most changes in it outside of the aforementioned transcode talker combo. I don't have the combo yet. I do have a Needle Fiber and Selene, I just don't have a transcode because I've not got any of that set yet. So 2 constructs, like you need this App Cologne, 2 Winda, like yeah, these cards, like, you really don't have any room to change any of these. You don't need 3 of either of these. You sometimes want a 3rd construct just for super poly, but like other than that, it's not the best. Winda is the one you'll be making a lot turn 1 if you don't have combo, because you can, with Alistair in hand, you can stand another doll. You can still make the Winda, because oftentimes it's just better to make Winda versus just to make a Mechaba, so you just go into this instead. So in the Invoked package, this is like one of the big things I've changed. 1 Aeogides, 1 Mechaba, Purgatrio, Caliga. So before I get into these 3, I'm gonna go over this thing. This thing is nuts. It's a turn 1 and turn 2 play which makes Mechaba a 1-of guaranteed in the deck. You don't have to continually think, oh, do I want to play a second one, because then that way I have more interruption. I never wanted a second Mechaba when I have this in my gray, or when I have this, because you can pop a card when it's summoned. It's something that interrupts your opponent during their turn. And it also is a win condition, because you can banish any fusion from your graveyard to make this really, really big. So, like, I think the biggest it can get is, like, 4,800, if I'm not correct, or if I'm correct. Otherwise, it's just really solid. Like, this is one of what the engine needed. Something that you can make turn 1 or turn 2, which is great. The deck really struggled with an actual win condition other than just Mechaba or Purgatrio Beatdown, but Purgatrio doesn't do as much if your opponent doesn't have any monsters. This just is better. Extra deck, 1 Appaloosa. So this is because you have the full, when you have the full nuts combo, you make this. I'm debating on cutting this again. So the reason why I wanted to test it was because I found myself with less hand traps drawing into more combo pieces. So that way I can make the nuts board of like this Mechaba, Aeogides Caliga with like a Doll Fusion and an Alistair in hand. Like that's the nuts board, but I'm not actually like in testing I make this a lot, but in actual gameplay I never make it because like no one's dumb enough to let you, like if you're getting to the point in that combo, you're gonna get Nibiru because just usually usually this deck's really good at playing around Nibiru because it can do turn, like within 5 summons, it can make Mechaba or it can make Winda, which is usually really solid. But you'll oftentimes even if you have the nuts combo, you'll oftentimes go back just to doing that because you'll get Nibiru otherwise. You can't make this by your 5th summon without committing a ton of resources. Like if you do the regular nuts combo, the board you'll have at the time of 5th summon is your Aerial, your Construct, and then your Cross Sheep, which does nothing. Like you'll get a float off Construct, but ooh, you lose all your resources, just not worth it. For the rest of the extra deck, Boral Sword, Alistair, Almirage, Secure Gardener, Cross Sheep. Like this doesn't change. Like I said earlier, this would probably be what I cut for the package I'm talking about earlier. The cards that are easily going to be cut in the future is Boral Sword, Appaloosa, and maybe Caliga, just depending if I want to do the transcode combo. But that requires more testing before I commit to any of that. I might even cut down on the Secure Gardener because I'm finding myself not needing to make Mechaba turn 1 unless I absolutely brick. But it's like Gravity Controller back when this deck was in Master Rule 4. When you need it, you absolutely need it. And when you don't have it, it just doesn't... you literally just summon Alistair and pass. Like, the best you'll do on occasion is Caliga with an Invocation Engrave loop, which is nice, but, like, it's not comparable to a 35 beater that's either... It's a 35 beater when you pitch Alistair, and it's a negate. For the side deck, which I am so prepared for that I left it in my deck box, don't even worry about it. It's really similar to the past except for 1 card. Triple Nibiru for for solid rocks and Eldritch, because like there's a point in the combo where you can hit it if they fucking suck. But to be honest with you, I didn't want to play this because at locals, in theory, there's a ton of dolls. Because that was like the best deck last time I was there. And the only reason I played at all that format at that time was because I had Draco. I didn't have Invoked Shaddolls yet because I was a poor fucking college student. Anyway, for the rest of the side, triple DD Crow. I know this isn't super. You don't need to blow up my comment section about how they don't match. I'm aware they don't match. Blame Brian. You don't know who Brian is, but in my comments, just say, fucking god dang it, Brian. You don't have a third one of this. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Brian. He gave me a set of DD Crow, and he's been hooking me up with cards for years. Anyway, triple DD Crow. You can hit Eldritch Traps. You can hit the Golden Boy himself when they pitch it. It stops Block Dragon, and then it has a lot of rogue stuff. So like Orcust, you can hit the Nightmare if they don't have the Babel. You can stop Symbol, like against, what's it called? Dinos. You either hit their Mally or you hit their... other target for, what's his name? Big Dick Dino. Yeah, it's just really solid. Triple Twin. Yeah, like rogue stuff. You hard lose to like Guru because you can't super poly their stuff. They don't give a shit about Winda. Mechaba is okay, but only if you hit it the right time and they don't have a follow-up. So, like, if they go Hidden City, you negate it, and then if they have Guru, like, you basically just lose anyway, because they're going to search their negate, or they're just going to search, what's it called, so it's not really worth it. I would honestly cut these for Cosmics in the future, because it helps with Eldritch a lot more, which is probably one of your hardest matchups, just because Eldritch doesn't usually give a shit about Winda, because they either just send it with the fucking Golden Boy, or if they are playing the Jet Synchron combo, like, it just doesn't matter, because they'll just send it. And what's it called? Hekaro, the fucking DD Crow, is really hurtful in this deck, so you need to get rid of him as soon as possible. What I'd probably end up cutting for it is this, because last format, people were making Dweller all the time, because the best decks back then was Dolls, which could make it in theory, and Salad and Dino, which can make it super easily. So, like, this was, like, one of the greatest outs to Dweller, because they'll usually wait for you to have a card, that way they don't get impermed. So when you commit to a card, they activate it, and it's like, you just chain this, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the turn. Yeah, it's a beater, ooh, but it stops the Dweller entirely, which is nice. You do have some times where you want to actually negate Construct and boost it, just so you don't have to auto-kill the monster. Against Solid Rocks, I think it was... No, was it Solid Rock? No, it was Eldix. The guy had Golden Boy on the field, and I couldn't beat over it. Or I couldn't kill it with the Construct, because it's unprotected, so I negated its effects, and then did it. So yeah. It was either that or was something else, I'm pretty sure. It was in Eldix, I know that. I don't know if it was Golden Boy, but... Triple Super Poly. I almost want to main this again, because it deals with Golden Lord, which is super, super good. But it's ass against everything else in the format. Like, you can make Purgatrio against Salad, which is cool, but, like, they're just gonna rage it, or roar it, whatever. The trap that just pops it, they're just gonna kill it that way when you swing with it, so it just doesn't matter. And in Eldritch, it deals with, what's it called? It deals with the big guy, Golden Boy, in the mirror. It's just insane. Against Guru, somewhat, I kept 2 of the stand against Guru. Only if I saw Crackdown game 1 or 2. Because when they crack down you can just normal summon anything and then get a resource for free, so it's really solid. In theory, but again, you have to see it before you get to that period. Otherwise, you're just citing in a dead card, because you're not running any Earths. And then against, so it can also stop the Jet Synchron combo, because you can either fuse away Herald or Borrowed Savage, whatever one's a problem at that point. You just normal summon Alistair, search, and if they try to negate, you chain this, and then you'll have a Caliga or a Mechaba on the board for free. Because regardless, you're going to get a negate in some way, so... Yeah, this card's really solid. I still love this deck, even though it's unfortunately been kind of power crept recently, just because, like, Eldritch and Adamancipator, it's just no comparison at all to the decks. The biggest weakness, I'd say, for this deck is probably hitting it early enough. So, there's a lot of hands where you need Alistair to resolve, especially against your more rogue matchup or Eldritch, where you have to figure out a way to outgrind them fast. So yeah, like, the deck's solid, but there's so many ways to out Window right now, and then the deck's just awful in comparison to Jet Synchron Needle Fiber combos. Like I said, I'm going to test Needle Fiber in this deck eventually, but I want to get Transcode, but even then, it's not like I'm doing a Transcode popping 2 cards is like... It's not comparable to Borrowed Savage plus a Macro Cosmos. That's also a negate, and that can search a ritual dude. What's the hand trap called? Servalis or something like that. The worm. So yeah, love the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to comment, or if you guys want to talk about deck theory. Oh, one more thing before I forget. You guys continually ask me what sleeves I have on my extra deck. These border sleeves. I don't know the name of them in particular, but I've gotten more of them. So just wanted to let you guys know that I don't know the name of them, so stop asking. When I eventually do the 500 sub Q&A, which I haven't announced yet, that'll be like the first question I answer. Because I've been double sleeving for so long, and now I've gotten to the point where I've triple sleeved them. Because apparently Magic has border sleeves as well, and they look really sick. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys later. Peace.